Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a video here today. Many men have decided to remain single. The biggest reason why. Now, this is going to be a woman who's going to be trying to explain to us why men are remaining single. So we shall see how accurate she gets it. Let's jump in, guys. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I want to talk about what I believe is the biggest reason why a lot of young men are staying single. I could make this into a video of 100 reasons why men are choosing to be single today because there are a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I mean, this woman, if she wanted to, this video is like 12 minutes long. I guarantee you she could have made this an hour if she really wanted to. Not that hard. There are a lot of reasons why men are refusing to date.
We know that there are more young men remaining single than in any recent generation. And I do think that there are a lot of factors, but I want to dive into what I think is one of the biggest reasons why I've been hearing from young men as to why they have decided to remain single. I've come across a video of a gentleman talking about his experience, and it looks like he's in his maybe late 20s or 30s. And I think that he verbalizes his experience really well. So the first thing we're going to do is listen to it. And I want to talk about what he's talking about, the impact of what he experienced and the change of mindset that he kind of breezes over. But I think that a lot of men are going through exactly what he went through, and it's making a very large impact on our society.
Yeah, you know who it's making a very large impact on, by the way? It's making a very large impact on women, right? Now, as of the time of me recording this video, guys, TikTok has been banned. We will see how, that progresses, if anybody is allowed to buy it, if they actually do sell the app and it goes back up and running. But as of the time of me recording this video, TikTok is down. Now, the reason why I bring this up, guys, is because women are really affected by this crap. How do I know? Because when I was recovering TikToks, you would see so many women crying, complaining, angry, bitter about the fact that men are not committing to them. Now, granted, they're chasing the top percentage of men, okay, but this is indicative that men as a whole really aren't offering up commitment like they used to women. So you have a whole bunch of women, man, who are approaching 30, and a lot of them are scared, they haven't secured the marriage, they haven't secured the kids, and dudes have they've just opted out, man.
And it's making a very large impact on our society. And then lastly, as usual, I'm just going to give some advice. I'm going to give some advice to women and to you guys out there that are experiencing this, because I really think that those of you that are listening, it is already an excellent sign. It's a good sign that you guys want a relationship, right? You wouldn't be listening to this content if you weren't wanting that.
I mean, I'm going to have to disagree there. I think a lot of guys who, they come across this stuff, man, they've already checked out. They're not interested. Now, granted, there are some dudes who obviously they would like to have a family. They would like to have a girlfriend or a wife or something like this. But there are also a very large group of men who are just like, you know what? Screw that, man. I'm done. It's not worth the headache. A lot of these guys, man, they've lost houses, they've lost children, they've lost other assets, they've lost their sanity, they've been cheated on many times, they fell for the, oh, she's got guy friends trick, and so on and so forth. And I think a lot of guys are just absolutely done, to the point where dudes are actually leaving Western countries. Now, I'll be interested to see what this woman's advice is, by the way, guys, because usually when women make these videos, it's not because they actually give a damn. I'm always very skeptical of these videos because usually the woman doesn't actually care and her advice makes absolutely no sense. Now, I'm going to give this woman the benefit of the doubt and see what she says, but that's just my perspective. Usually these videos don't actually come from a place of empathy or trying to actually give good advice to men. So let's jump in. Let's continue.
And so I want to give you advice as to what you can do to better improve your chances of finding the right woman for you and developing the right relationship for you. Before we get started, guys, please remember to like this video and subscribe if you haven't yet to catch my videos every Friday. Before I say any more, let's watch the video that inspired the content today.
What is the most painful thing anyone has ever said to you?
It was definitely what my ex said after we had our closure moment. She said that I was the person that got her out of her depression and got her outside. And then the moment that she realized she had to do that for me, she couldn't, and so she left me. I was in a very dark place. I had a lot of people dying at that time.
How did that make you feel?
Still processing it, yeah. Definitely used and often I feel abandoned in that moment. Made me feel like I've had to have everything secure before I get into another relationship, but that's unhealthy for myself.
Why do you think she felt like she couldn't handle it?
Some people just, I don't know, when the going gets rough, that's when you realize who are the real ones in your life.
What did you learn about relationships?
Even the people you love can do some of the worst things to you. You can choose to forgive them or not, but all you got to do is forgive yourself and accept who you are and just keep going.
The amount of men that were in the comments in the original video and in the video that I posted in regards to this video that have said over and over again, guys, do not tell your feelings. Do not open up. Do not be vulnerable like this to a woman. They have experienced this. I can't even tell you guys, as a woman giving dating advice, I can't tell you absolutely don't worry, just tell her your feelings, because honestly, I don't think that most women can handle it.
Yeah, the thing is, most of them, number one, they don't care. And number two, the moment you stop providing something, they just bounce anyway. This is why men don't open up about their feelings a lot of the time, is because it's simply not worth it. I saw a comment the other day, man, and it was something like, men don't open up, or they don't talk about their problems because half the people don't care, and then the other half are glad that you have them. You know what I mean? But yeah, if men are out here struggling, if they're going through bad issues, whether that be mentally or financially, nobody particularly gives a damn, guys. And a lot of these women, they're not the ride or die type of women, man. They'll just straight up leave your ass. Okay, some dude's depressed, some dude's got a lot of issues going on, or he loses his job or something like this. She's out of there, man. I have seen this so many damn times, guys. It'll be a man will go through a rough patch. I've heard of dudes getting injured and things like this at work, so they have to take time off. They get injured at work. They're out of work for a couple of months. They've got a serious injury. And then all of a sudden, there's just issues in the relationship and the woman just bounces. But, oh, don't worry. It's not because of the money. It's not because he can't provide any more. It's not because he's not stable enough. They just grew apart, is what the woman would tell you. But dudes know the moment you stop representing stability, oftentimes you're just going to get ditched. The dudes who don't provide anything, whether that be, mental stability, financial stability, actual protection, and so on, you just get ditched. Dudes understand this from a very young age, man. You start trying to tell people about your feelings, a lot of them don't care. They simply do not give a damn, particularly women. By the way, women are actually way worse at this. Women will sit here and be like, man, why don't men communicate and just listen to each other? But I tell you what, you open up to a dude, it's probably going to go a lot better than opening up to a woman. Let me just say that right now.
Because honestly, I don't think that most women can handle it. It's so tough, guys, because I think it's really difficult to really know how a woman is going to react to your vulnerability.
I mean, let's be honest, most of the time it's just straight up negatively. And there are also many women who they might not react negatively in the moment, but they just end up using it against you later on. It's really messed up, man. Dudes will go out there, they'll pour their heart to a woman, and then 2 months later, she'll just use it against him. And the comments on this video, I'm sure the comments would have been uploaded a whole bunch. Men would have been like, yeah, been in the same boat, did that, and now I'm divorced. Girlfriend left, and so on and so forth, man. Particularly the women who have been with a lot of guys, by the way, they just have no pair bonding ability whatsoever. So the moment you represent something other than what she wants, she'll just try and trade your ass up and ditch for the next guy, you know?
And for a lot of men, honestly, you're so strong and you're so committed to being a provider that maybe you never really experience a large hiccup in your life. And, you know, you're in this relationship, you're married, you have a family, and you continue on and things are smooth sailing. But for a lot of men, it's not that. And like they do have a hiccup in life. And then for their woman to not be able to hold space for that is really challenging.
I find this language very strange. Hold space. You know, I don't really know what this means. I understand what this woman is trying to say, but hold space. Men just want to actually be supported. And to be honest, they don't get that from a lot of modern day women, guys. Like, if you go out here and try and have a relationship with your average modern day woman, particularly one from a metropolitan city, and you expect her to be supportive when you go through a rough period, I mean, a lot of guys will tell you how that goes for them. You know, and it's really quite sad, man, because dudes will go out here, they'll provide absolutely everything to the woman, they'll help her out through thick and thin, and, you know, she'll be sad, she'll go through really rough periods and so on, the dude will stick there, but, you know, the dude goes through something and she bounces. And also, just by the way, dudes go through a lot of crap, but most of the time they just don't say anything. That's really what it boils down to. You'll have dudes who will go through the worst experiences of their life, and you won't even find out until, like, you know, 2 weeks later on a random Wednesday, and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, this happened, you know? And you know what I'm saying, guys? Like, because men typically understand that nobody's going to be there to save them. You know, they can't just, oh, do a post on Facebook or Instagram and get a bunch of people in their DMs who give a damn, who are trying to talk to them and be that shoulder to cry on. It's like, no. That's not typically how it works for men. Nobody gives a crap.
We could get into the reasons why I think that this has developed, because I think there are reasons why women have become this way and they don't hold space for their man as much as maybe previous generations.
I mean, women have always not really been attracted to this behavior from men. It's just that the quality of women these days has deteriorated. You know, back in the day, you'd be able to find like a wife or a solid girlfriend or something like the women used to be of a different caliber, guys. The body counts were lower, the single motherdom was significantly lower. You know, no fault divorce was also introduced, things like this. So the odds of the woman actually sticking it out with you were a fair bit higher. I think they were still not interested in this behavior. You know what I'm saying? But many of them had a higher ability to pair bond and actually stick it out. I feel happy for these older people, man. I see, like, you know, people who are like 60 years old and they've been married for 40 years. That's absolutely great. I'm happy for them. But I do think that modern day relationships for a lot of guys, complete scam, complete waste of time.
I think that we in general are more materialistic. I think that we have these high expectations that have been inflated because of dating apps and because of social media. I think that the few men that have had bad behavior, poor behavior in relationships, I think that it just gets inflated because of social media and because of stories, that there's a lot of distrust in men. I think.
Yeah, so here's what happens. Here's the reason why this happens, okay? Women go out here, they select the top percentage of dudes off of dating applications, the men who have all of the options, and then women cry when they get treated like an option. That's all that it is. Women go out here, they select the men with options, they complain that they get treated like an option, and then, of course, they blame all men for this behavior. And just by the way, you know, these men, I love the language here because the men don't want to commit, right? But the women always phrase it like he's toxic or he's terrible. Many of these men are actually, you know, some of them lie, obviously. But many of them are quite clear that they don't want anything serious. And the women will still come out here and be like, oh, he's toxic, he's this, he's a narcissist, right? And they'll start labeling him with all this crap. But really, it's just that the man doesn't want to commit. And I think women take great offense, guys, when men don't want to commit to them. Like, they lose their marbles and they can't conceptualize that a man can be, you know, physically interested in you, but does he have any desire to actually have a relationship with you? No. Is he actually attached to you? No. Women don't seem to comprehend this, that a man can hook up with you but have zero desire to spend any time with you whatsoever. And that boils down to, number one, the dude typically has a bunch of options. And number two, the women don't really display any qualities, for example, that make them a viable girlfriend or a viable wife or the mother of your kids and stuff like this.
Of distrust in men. I think that because there's more and more divorces, there's more single mom homes raising kids on their own, and they're either cutting out the dad or the dad isn't involving himself, to where boys are being raised by single moms, girls are being raised by single moms, and they're not seeing that healthy dynamic of a relationship, and they're not having the influence of their dad, which is very necessary. So
just by the way, I'm of the mind, guys, that more often than not, the women are actually just shoving the dudes out of the household. Like, yes, they choose bad men, but a lot of guys are actually interested in raising the kids that they have with a woman, but the women kind of shoo these men away and push them out of the family units more often than not. I'm not saying that there are not deadbeat fathers, right? I'm sure there are dudes who will get have a child with a woman and then just bounce. I'm not saying that these dudes don't exist, but I think in the majority of cases, the dude is just being ditched and thrown out of the family unit, man.
So yeah, there are reasons to why this is happening, but the bottom line is that when it happens, a man is going to feel like he has just gave. He gave so much within the relationship, but then when he's the one that needs a little something in return, she can't do that for him. But then the minute that he can't give as much, that woman that he gave so much to, all of a sudden is unhappy in the relationship and decides to end it.
Yeah, what a surprise. I mean, you guys let me know down in the comments, okay? If you have a situation like this, right? Maybe you've had an ex-wife or an ex-girlfriend or something like this. Obviously, leave out names and stuff. But if you've had a similar situation where you go through some stuff, let me know how that went for you. I'd be interested to know. I don't say that to make fun of these guys. I just know that a lot of men have had experiences, where like they lose their job or something, or they go through a rough patch where family members are passing away and things like this. And then the women are just like, you know what? I'm not happy. So let me know in the comments. Has this happened to you? And if you don't, obviously, don't name drop or anything like this, but if you have a situation to share, guys, absolutely do share it below, because I think a lot of guys have actually gone through this. I think this is an incredibly common thing where the dude is temporarily unable to provide, and then the woman just absolutely bounces. It's really sad, guys. It's like the dudes will put in so much, and then like this woman says, when the man requires a bit from her, oh, hell no. And ironically enough, a lot of guys, they don't require a whole lot in the relationships. It's not like men have these great big lists and things like this. Usually they just want a supportive woman who's normal. I say normal, and so I mean like healthy. Normal, healthy woman who's not going to, slash your tires if you don't take the bins out or something like this. But many of these women just don't, wouldn't trust them not to damage your tires personally.
And decides to end it. So I think is very reasonable as to why that man all of a sudden now feels like he needs to be in a really good spot before he can date, because he has learned that a woman that he's with is not going to be happy if he's not in a good spot. And surprise, surprise, because what that creates is a lot of young men that are trying to build through their 20s, like they don't have everything that a woman might say that she wants because of these crazy expectations. He is going to feel like he can't win, like it's an impossible mission, because he doesn't have exactly what she wants, and he can't be emotionally vulnerable with her. So if he is not in an excellent mental health status, if he doesn't already have a bunch of money, if he doesn't already own his home, if he doesn't already have his investments lined up, if he doesn't already have all of his baggage taken care of, there's just so many things. And look, the bottom line is that we cannot be perfect human beings, especially in our 20s.
Yeah, so the bottom line is women are requiring a whole bunch of things, and oftentimes they don't provide the same in return. And I actually saw a video of this recently where a woman from New York City was losing her marbles, saying that, oh, her fantastic and independent friends, well, they don't require a man to have a lot of money. They're all in their early 20s and they're out here dating bums, and they can't even get commitment from the bums, right? Which I found to be absolutely hilarious. So women tend to value the finances more, particularly as they get older and they realize that they need stability. They're trying to rush out and have kids and things like this because of the biological clock. They're trying to get married and so on. But yeah, absolutely. Women just demand so much crap, guys, especially from the long-term man, right? So here's the thing. When she goes out there and she has some random hookup off of some dating application, okay? She goes out there, she does her solo traveling across Europe, right? We all know what that means. When she does these things, the men that she hooks up with, the only requirement for them is that they're attractive, okay? But the dudes who have to take her seriously and who want to put a ring on it, oh, we have to, we have to do everything, guys. You got to be the complete package. I've actually heard women say this crap before, guys, where they're like pushing their 30s and they're like, the next guy I get with, he really has to tick all my boxes. It's like, can we ever talk about the boxes that men need ticked, or no? Is this just women get to demand whatever the hell they want and men are supposed to just bend over backwards to try and fulfill it? Because I'll tell you this, guys, if you say to a man, hey, listen, you have to go out there and you have to make 100K a year, you have to work really hard on your body, you have to do this, you have to do that, and your reward is a 30-year-old woman who's been with 35 different men, you're going to have a very hard time convincing that man to go out there and put that kind of effort in. You're better off just saying, hey, man, if you go out there and earn a whole bunch of money, you can have that cool car that you want. That's probably going to convince the guy a lot more than one of these modern women. Like, holy hell.
Like, that is one of our greatest periods of, I feel like, learning and human development. So for there not to be really that much grace, it does leave men feeling like they are just there for what they can provide. Like they are not loved for who they are as people.
I mean, we never are. Like, let's be honest about this. Let's cut the crap, okay? Dudes are not loved simply for existing, right? I hate to really get into this, guys, but love is really quite a transaction, okay? If you are not somebody that women see as a viable dating prospect, like, women have metrics. Like, let's not pretend that women are out here just floating around looking for their random ass soulmate, okay? Oh, I just connected with this individual. Like, no, they have metrics. They have things that they're interested in. They have things that they're not interested in, which, by the way, many women completely lie about, okay? If dudes want to be, women to be interested in them, we have to provide crap. We have to be something, whether that be you have to be highly attractive in terms of, facial features, height, hair, so on, or whether you bring finances or so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to bring something. If you don't have something, nobody cares. Okay, people understand, man, that a dude who's broke, bad mental health, bad physique, no friends, nobody cares. Like, that dude will just be left, like, nobody's going to be sitting there talking to that man, especially women, man. You can probably make friends with other dudes, sure, but like, women certainly will not have a lot of tolerance for that.
Like, you can't blame them for feeling that way. I think that there's a lot of clear evidence that points to why they feel that way. And look, I'm not even saying that it's all women's fault. I'm just saying that when one particular man goes through this, and this is what he comes out the other end saying, it is that woman's fault. It is, I blame that woman. I blame his ex for now him having issues and staying single for a period of time. Like, I do think that that's detrimental to him, like, and to his ability to have a relationship that's healthy with a woman.
I mean, let's multiply that by all of the men who have gone through similar situations. Are we going to hold those women to the same standard, man? Because otherwise, we'd be running out of good women if that were the case, right? I mean, I'm just following this woman's logic here. Because I certainly think, guys, that the grand majority of women treat men like this, especially in Western society. Like, again, if you were to pluck out the average Western woman in a metropolitan area, okay, they don't give a damn. Dudes go through rough patches, they'll bounce. They're not out there. Like, these women will say that they're kind and empathetic and they're just looking for their Prince Charming. They're just looking for love and all of this esoteric nonsense. But no. That's really not what it boils down to, man. They don't particularly care. And this happens to, I would say, the majority of guys who have been out there dating. You've had a girlfriend or two, you've had a few, right? Whatever the case may be. This is a very, very a common occurrence for men. This is not something that just happens to 1 in every 10 men. You know what I mean?
Now I want to give you my advice to women first, okay? To women, it's pretty simple. I think you need to learn to hold space. for a man's vulnerability. I think that you need to feel secure in yourself enough and self-confident enough in yourself, and you have to work on yourself to build that up. You cannot just rely on everything, every good feeling that you ever experience coming from a man. You can't rely on that. Like, you should be able to hold an uncomfortable, unknown space.
Okay, so this woman uses some strange language here with the holding the space thing, but if I'm interpreting this correctly, this is not altogether that bad. You know, if your man's going through something, you should be supportive. You shouldn't just bounce. You should, quote unquote, hold space. I'm giving a generous interpretation to what she's saying here. Yeah, fine. I don't know about this work on the confidence thing. Like, what the hell does confidence have to do with not just ditching a man? You know what I mean? That's where I start to get a little bit lost, man. Is like, you know, if you want men to be vulnerable, don't punish them for it. That's really the translation here. If you want men to be emotionally intelligent and vulnerable with you, maybe just don't beat them with a stick when they do. You know what I mean? I don't know what the hell it has to do with gaining, like, women have to go out here and get personal confidence, whatever. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Holding space, if I'm translating it right, then sure. I mean, that's probably pretty accurate. You know, hold space for the man / you know, support him if he's going through something. Yeah, that's probably pretty solid. Let's keep going.
For him, for going through hard times, especially if you ever want to make a long-term commitment to a man, because when vows are involved, I know today's day and age, like, that might not mean as much as it once did, but it should.
Yeah, I mean, vows are the same as they were. The people are just different, man, and also the system is different. Women are allowed to break vows simply because they feel like it. Women can leave you because of irreconcilable differences. Okay, women can file for no fault divorce. They can throw away the vows. Vows are vows at the end of the day. They don't technically mean any less. It's just that the women are allowed to throw them away. That's really what it is.
So I think that a lot of women need to work on that. Now, my advice to men is that I think that you should be able to be vulnerable, but you need to make sure that it is appropriate for the amount of time that you've been together and for, like, how deep the relationship is. So I don't think it's a smart idea in both ways, right? For a woman or a man to be super vulnerable with essentially a stranger, you know, if you've just met them a week ago or 2 weeks ago. But
I mean, sure, but this is not typically what's happening, I would argue. I would argue there are dudes out there who are in long-term relationships. You know, maybe you've been with the woman for a couple of years or something like this. The dude will go through a hard time. He won't be able to financially provide for a period. He'll go through some mental health things, and she will just bounce. Okay, like, let's not, it's not just random women that men are meeting and then they dump their feelings onto her in the first week. Okay, I'm sure that does happen. But what dudes are explaining here, what men are saying, is that in these long-term relationships, maybe you've been with a woman for a while, they will still just up and leave your ass. Okay?
At some point, it should happen. It should just naturally happen. You don't even need to test it. But I think that you shouldn't hold it back when it comes about in the relationship. Say you're a month in, you're 6 months in. That's actually perfect. 6 months to a year. I would say, in my brain, that's a perfect timeline to be vulnerable with your partner about something.
Let's think about this for a second, guys. Okay, so you have to be in a relationship with a woman for 6 to 12 months before you can talk about your feelings. Guys, like, why even bother talking about your feelings at all? You know what I'm saying? If it takes 6 months for your woman to even give a damn, it's like, what's the point of even sharing your feelings in the first place? You know, guys, I would say after the 6 month or 12-month period, then you're allowed to have a problem and talk to her about it. Like, come on. Like, what are we talking about here, man? Like, again, I want to stress this, okay? It's not like men don't have feelings. Men absolutely have feelings. But like, this, you've got to admit, this is kind of funny, right? It's like, you have to be with a woman for 6 to 12 months, then you can start talking about your feelings. It's like, okay, do women have this time period, guys? Because holy hell, they'd be screwed. If women had to be with you for at least 6 months before they got to talk about their feelings, like, I'm pretty sure the women would just implode, right? Like, what what is going on here? Let's rewind that and see if I'm misinterpreting. Okay, sometimes I misinterpret this crap. Let's go back.
Or 6 months in. When it comes about in the relationship, say you're a month in, you're 6 months in. That's actually perfect. 6 months to a year. I would say in my brain, that's a perfect timeline to be vulnerable with your partner about something and look at their reaction.
Wait. So yeah, I am interpreting this right. So correctly, right? So 6 to 12 months. Now you can be vulnerable with your significant other. Now you can be vulnerable with your girlfriend or wife. Again, guys, this is the crap I'm talking about. It's like, what the hell's the point? you know what I mean? Like, if you, let's just say you go through an issue, right, at like 3 months in, 4 months in, and you're like, man, you know what? I haven't met that 6 month deadline. Screw it. I'm just never going to mention my feelings, you know, because like, what the hell is the point, man? You know, like, we clearly don't give a damn if the dudes have to wait 6 months to tell you about a personal issue they've had. You know, guys, you're let's I hesitate to joke about this, but right, let's just say you've got a family member who passes away. Okay, you're 3 months into the relationship. Well, unfortunately for you, my friend, that's 3 months before the you know, the expected period where she's going to give a crap, or at least pretend to. Comedy, no? I think that's absolutely hilarious, and they wonder why dudes don't talk about their feelings, man.
And I think that you should react to their reaction in an appropriate manner. So if she does not react well to you, all right, I could say that's a red flag. You know, just move on, leave it at that. But I don't think you should even just do that. I think that you should call it out for what it is. Because if you take that and you walk away from the relationship and she walks away as if, you know, that was just circumstantial, you know, you went through a tough time and she just couldn't handle it. That's like not okay. It really isn't. I think that especially in this situation where he was there for her and he helped her get through it, she couldn't return the favor. She couldn't even just be less than that and just hang on. You know, he wasn't even saying that he needed her to do exactly what he was able to do for her. She just needed to maybe hold space for it and just hang in there and be okay with him resolving the stuff on his own. So what I'm saying is that in this particular case, if he had said anything back to her, such as, look, this is what I've done for you, and you can't even return this. This is how it makes me feel. It makes me feel like you've just used me. Like you.
Oh, there you go, talking about your feelings again, you know? Guys, I don't even think it's worth saying this crap. I really don't. Doing like this spiel about how like you feel hurt because she's not listening or something like this. Like if the woman's not listening, she's going to bounce anyway. What's the point of you telling her more about your feelings? She clearly doesn't give a crap, you know?
You were just here when I could provide something to you, whether it was emotional support, financial support, whatever that was during that time that you had difficulty. And for me to go through something difficult right now in this moment, and for you to just completely give up and to not be able to be there, like, it feels like you didn't really love me. It makes it feel like you were just here temporarily.
Yeah, and so here's what's going to happen if you say this crap. It's just going to be crickets, and then she's going to be like, okay, peace anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go to a woman and she doesn't give a damn, and you think by doing this spiel about how it makes you feel and you feel used and stuff like this, the woman's she's just going to say okay and bounce anyway.
Until things, you know, became not as nice in your situation. I think that this is the part of really open and honest communication that is so necessary in a relationship. And while this example that I gave to you guys, this is a little bit of an extreme, and I would say this is just a total red flag, and he needs to just walk away.
I don't think it's an extreme at all. I think it's actually incredibly common, guys. Like that video that we saw at the start of this woman's video with the man on the to her side that she brought up, like the TikTok or video, a short video or whatever it was. Like that's not an extreme example in my opinion. I think that's a pretty average one, to be honest. Like, granted, the dude was going through some pretty serious stuff, but you know, a lot of guys go through some pretty serious stuff. I don't think that's extreme whatsoever, man. I think a lot of women react the same way that she did.
There are smaller things that happen within relationships, which I think a lot of you guys just kind of get over the hump and you don't push back on your woman as much because you want to keep the peace. But I do think that early on in a relationship, so if you're 6 months in and you're vulnerable with her about something and she makes you feel bad for it, I think you can call it out as simply as, that's kind of crappy behavior that you did that and you made me feel bad for that, and I am just fine now, you know, like I will take care of this myself, but I'm just letting you know that you weren't there for me. Like, call the behavior out. And I think that we might see some changes within that relationship, especially early on. You want to set the tone before continuing on, because I think that when you don't set the tone, whether it's coming from the man or the woman, things kind of just continue on and they can seep into the bottom of the foundation of the relationship. And then you guys are just stuck. So don't get stuck.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I don't think the women are going to give a crap. That's what I really think it boils down to, man. You know, it's always on the men to do the open, honest communication. But I just don't think these women care oftentimes, man. Okay? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments box below. Have you guys been through something similar, right? Have you lost a job? Maybe you went through a hard period or something and you feel comfortable sharing it in the comments. Make sure to leave it below. And compare, you know, have a read of other dudes' comments and see what the go is. But we're going to be leaving it there. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments, guys. Make sure you take care of yourselves. And I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.